So we're back again by unpopular demand. And after a little bit of April Fool's Day nonsense earlier today, I thought I owed the Rush fan base something a little bit more serious. And more importantly, I owe a friend of mine in Kentucky, Riley, a look at this song, which he asked me to do way back all those years ago when I started this channel. And I promised him that I would be taking requests and that this was a song that I would do because there's no question it's a fantastic lyric with some super interesting lines in it that hopefully we'll tussle with here and maybe try and come to terms with, or at the very least enjoy together. So let's get into it straight away. This is Rush, Bravado from 1991. I was in Cape Town, production managing a movie when this album first came out, and immediately I'm taken back to the shadow of Table Mountain. It's incredibly evocative for me, just hearing it again. I had a CD in my car. I was very, very smart, and it was on constant rotation. So, immediately we've got Icarus flying too close to the sun. The moment of glory that's over before it's begun, that's quite a, for me, I've had those moments. You know, that moment when you feel like you're on top of the world, when the headline in the paper says Ebola movie a hit, and then it's done and it's made no money and you've made no money and it didn't make that big splash, but a small ripple. If the dream is won, though everything is lost, great play on words. So the core of this song, the heart of this song, we will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. I remember reading somewhere Neil Peart writing about this song, and he said something along the lines of, there is no failure of talent, only character. And that's probably this band, right? The constant striving to do something new and different probably didn't take every single fan through every single phase of the band. Probably lost more fans than it gained to a certain extent, certainly up until the latter half of their career. But they were always stretching their talent. They were always willing to see the talent reach a moment of glory, even if it required the character of knowing that not everyone would get it. So I know I spent a lot of time looking at this line. We will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. And it always made sense to me. I always kind of got it, but unpacking it in a way that makes sense, unpacking it in a way that turns those words into other words is a little tricky to do. We will pay the price. We will do whatever it takes to express our talent. But we will have the strength of character to not be doing that audit and saying, well, that price was wasted. We won't be accountants on our lives. We won't spend our time counting the cost of things, even though we constantly pay the price to do the things that reach for the sun. It's what I say is not nearly as elegant as that line. And I think that's it's one of those lines that sits with you in a way where you understand it, even if it's quite hard to turn understanding into explanation. We will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. So there it is, right? Character is pride. If we manage to be proud of what we did, if we keep our pride, it doesn't matter if we didn't quite make the summit. It doesn't matter if we didn't quite get across the river. As long as we made an album with a rap in it, and some of our fan base turned around and said, "What the hell are you doing?" It doesn't matter as long as we were proud of it. Once again, Piet writes his creative manifesto, his musical manifesto, into so much of his work. It's the golden thread through his work. If I remember rightly, this was a licensed solo that came out of the demos, one of those things that just poured out of his instrument. So much soul. And that little bass run, love it, love it. Is it any wonder songs like this speak to me? I spoke in another video about All You Could Love, the Marillion lyric being literally my email tag. Pride, if we still have our pride, and if love remains, even if everything else has gone, love remains. That's enough. If you lose everything else, and if love remains, that is so redemptive. It is so pitch perfect. If love remains. It's got a very interesting vibe of a very long fade out, this song, hammering home this point. And if love remains. And then meaty life song. Was it in Pulp Fiction? Mr. Wolf said, just because you are a character doesn't mean you have character. there's a there's a there's a deep-seated sense in us that character is important, more important than achievement in many ways. It's okay to fail as long as you do so with character. It's okay to fail as long as you strive and have pride in that. And if the love remains. My friend Riley had some health issues, and I think that we all face challenges in our life that require us to have character, that require us bravado. Now that's interesting, right? Bravado so often speaks of sort of the tough guy, the boastful, the braggart. But I think in this title, it's talking of a sort of creative bravado that says a creative swagger, a life swagger that says, I am going to have the character and the bravado to strive so that my reach, my reach exceeds my grasp exceeds my reach. And that's okay. I'd absolutely love millions of people to enter into this conversation with me, but I'm quite happy if only 5 do. As long as love remains, as long as pride remains. This is a fantastic song off a pretty good album from that period that so many people struggle with. As always with Rush, it's quite easy, I think, for people to say, oh, that period of their musical career was the best and that period was too poppy and too synthy and too electronic. But I'll tell you what, listen to the individual songs, see them played live, break down these lyrics, listen to those little bass runs and those incredible solos, and I defy you to tell me that this song has not got swagger, has not got a bit of bravado, and isn't filled with pride and love. I hope I did this justice for Riley. I hope that this makes up a little bit for the people that were a little bit surprised that I did a lyric video for a song with no lyrics and then tried to rush-explain me as to why it wasn't the song I should be doing. I hope you're still watching. I hope you do so again. Until then, thank you. Keep the faith.